And yes, we are live. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still suffering through that lingering cough. Apologies for that. Welcome everybody to the Airlock Podcast. We're going to be doing a bit of a excuse me, an interesting twist here today. Originally, we had planned for High Admiral Mordecai Wolf to be the Commodore of the Warrior of the ISD2 Warrior to be joining us today. However, due to scheduling conflicts, we had to improvise. We will be doing his interview next week, whenever we can. So today, had to throw in something last minute. And I actually have back on the show with me Vice Admiral Silwar once again. Hello, Admiral.
Hello, Commander. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So yeah, like I was just saying, we had to throw something together real quick because we couldn't get Mordecai this week, but we'll get something next week. But instead of me interviewing somebody, it is now the other way around. I am apparently being the one interviewed today by our very calm of the challenge. So I leave it to you at this point. So yeah, go on ahead.
Yeah, here in the challenge, we are always prepared for whatever comes our way.
Yes.
Even if it's a misalignment of schedules.
Yeah. It's not a problem. Like I said, we'll get him next week. It's just, work. His work schedule and my work schedule just did not align at all, and so yeah, we'll get it next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, the last episode that you had with Phoenix Mercana was a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting, especially since he's my predecessor. That's what really got me. It's like, all this time I never once talked to him until last week.
That's right. He was prior Thunder, right?
Yeah, he was the previous Thunder commander when it was first reactivated under Dempsey.
Right.
And now after him it was Tigra. Lieutenant Colonel Tigra Shatterclaw, and then it's me. And hopefully Tigra will be back soon. He's currently on medical leave.
That's right. And so how did we get here? So you're coming up on your 1-year anniversary, I think, in a couple of weeks.
Am I? I have not been keeping track of that at all. Yeah, I guess. Actually, wait. You're right. Yeah, you're right. It is coming up.
Of course, I'm right.
Yeah. Well, yes, of course. But no, yeah. It is actually coming up to a year by now. I got it. I really have just not been keeping up. How
did you find us? How did you start? How did you join the TIE Corps?
Funny. That's actually a funny story. So, for those of you who are in the TIE Corps right now, for those of you who actually know who's in my squadron, Thunder Squadron, you'll actually know that one of my flight leads currently, Lieutenant Commander Ryuzakin, he was actually the one that actually brought me in here.
Nice.
And it's funny because he never got the Medal of Instruction for that, which, for those of you who don't know, the Medal of Instruction you get when you quote-unquote recruit someone to join us, and only after they finish the iWatch training. And it was funny because he recruited me, but he was never in EH at all. He just found your poster, our poster, and posted it in my Discord server at the time, which is now the Tequila Cantina. And he just posted it there, and I'm like, oh sweet, this looks cool, I'll check it out. And I absolutely fell in love right after. It was like, I need to join this. But it was funny because he never got the Medal of Instruction because he was never in it.
And I wonder if we can retroactively
Well, we actually have a plan for that.
Okay.
Because yeah, I actually got the medal instruction for getting him in finally with the TIE Corps.
Oh, so you got it for him.
I got it from him, but he goes he thought of a plan. It's like, I may have been the one to technically bring you into EH, but you got the medal instruction. Here's what we can do: when you finally join the Dark Brotherhood, and I will be joining the Dark Brotherhood after the chaos of the restructuring finally finishes.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that. He'll be getting the Dark Brotherhood's version of the medal instruction. I don't know what that is yet.
The Scroll of Indoctrination.
The Scroll of so he'll be getting that whenever I join the Dark Brotherhood at last.
Nice. So what pulled you in? So you saw the poster. You signed up to join. Like, what happened from there?
So yeah, like when I first started reading up on what the TIE Corps is about, what EH is about, I was coming from a point in my life where I was going through community after community of, I actually want to say streamer communities, like like a bunch of Twitch streamers who want to run big communities and all that, and I was just going from one place to another, not really truly finding my place, and then this came up, and it just clicked. It worked. It involves my favorite genre of all time, subject matter of all time, and it's a milsim, or we run it like a milsim, so it's like, it's even better because I've never joined a milsim before and I've always wanted to, and then here we are. What really actually kind of scared me at first, I guess, was which squadron was I going to be put under, because I saw at the very beginning, it's like, do you have a preference as to which squadron to join? And here I am looking at each and every single one, like, I have absolutely no idea where to go. It's like, I don't know who anybody is here yet. I'll just leave it up to chance. And then I was brought on as a flight member for Thunder Squadron, and I've been with Thunder ever since. Originally, my first flight leader was Commander Aval,
yep.
who's currently now serving in Delta. And of course I went through the whole introductions of everybody. At the time I met Aval briefly via email. I met Dynamis, and I met Tigra immediately. And I don't know, I just started falling in love with everything of it. And then our squadron fell into a little bit of I guess you want to call it inactive period, or I should say some people started to move to reserves due to personal reasons, and then they started coming back. But at the time everybody was moving, I had already finished the IU sorry, I keep using acronyms, and I was instructed by our Grand Admiral to try to keep up on explaining those acronyms. The IU courses, the Imperial University courses, the classes that we actually have in EH, one of them was Squadron Management 5. And that one really took my interest, because it's the one that's required to run a squadron. So I was like, oh, bet, I'll definitely check this out, try it out. Immediately got 100 right off the bat.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was like first try, 100. Okay, yeah, sure, I'll take it. And shortly after, that's when Tigra was like, you know what? You're doing really well. How about you start writing up the squadron reports, because I'm gonna be busy with something. I guess at the time that was, I guess, the start of the Dark Brotherhood stuff. And again, we'll get to that later. Yeah. So he was like, he needed to focus on that, and the squadron needed. Oh, I'm sorry. The music seems to have screwed me over today. Yeah. it was supposed to be on loop, and it started going to the next song. It's like, oh no, that's not right. So where was that? Yeah, so he needed somebody to start writing reports while he was dealing with some stuff. So it was like, okay, I could do that for sure. And that's when he started, I guess, grooming me to be the XO and flight leader of Thunder at the time. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, continue.
Oh no, I was like, I just did what I thought was normal for flight lead / XO was, make sure my squadron's doing fine, check up on them, make sure if there was any questions I needed to answer, help them out in any way I can, plus start writing the reports, which again I had no idea how to do at the time. It was actually kind of funny because it was like, he told me, yeah, sure, just go ahead and write the report for whatever week. I forgot which week I actually started it. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. How do I do that? Then it's like I had to take a crash course in HTML. And it's like, all right, cool, bet. What's the format that we use? And then Tiger was like, oh, no, you don't need to go that crazy. Just go ahead and copy and paste the previous email. Like the whole, like literally just click and drag and just copy and paste the email and it will work. And I'm like, oh, that was a lot easier. He goes, yeah, all you need to do is just change the text and everything and that'll be fine. And I'm like, oh, okay, this was a lot easier than freaking out. I don't know why I freaked out.
Yeah, I mean, the reports can seem really intimidating. And I think one of the things that I've been working on with the Internet Officer is simplifying the way the reports are written. So you kind of have something a little bit more like Microsoft Word. You don't actually have to understand how to do any programming to write a report.
Yeah, you really don't. It works just fine. I wanted to start using the program you actually sent me, but now we're going to be switching over to a different format, which is the do we have permission to talk about that yet, or is it still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I plan on talking about it. Let's go for it.
Yeah, so we're now going to be switching how we handle reports. Instead of weekly, it's going to be the monthly newsletter for the challenge, where all the commanders are going to be sending to you everything that we need to discuss with our squadron, and it will be available to everybody in the challenge. I think also everybody in EH in general, or are we just limiting it to challenge?
Everybody. So the plan is that we are trying to do a fully realized kind of challenge zine. My first draft put us at somewhere around 50 pages. So rather than having weekly updates from each one of the squadrons plus weekly ship updates, we're combining all that into a long form content format where we can include long form fiction. For example, we have slated a wonderful piece of fiction by Major Graf Jin from Eagle Squadron. We can include art. We're going to include all the squadron news and directories and what everybody's been up to over the month, challenge news, Tycor news, articles about gaming, everything in kind of a large, like nicely formatted publication. And my dream, maybe not even a dream, but I've done some research into this. We will both have the published as a PDF in a mobile format. And I have been researching ways to actually have a printed magazine version at a high quality, just like you would buy off, the newsstand or the rack at the grocery store, like a nicely magazine printed version of the same thing, so that people can actually have a physical copy in their hands, which we would make available to everybody.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely 100% going to be getting that.
Yeah,
I definitely would like that in my hands. Actually reading it, it's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important. As we were building kind of this digital virtual world that we have, which has lots of rich lore, and we have all these interactions, through Discord or through podcasts like Twitch.
Yeah.
Having some kind of physical memento, I think, is a very powerful artifact.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, going back to writing the reports, like now with that, it's gonna be so much easier. It's yeah, I really don't know why I was freaking out back then. Oh well, I do know I was freaking out because it was like, oh, new guy on the block now being given all the keys to running the squadron. It's like, oh, shouldn't somebody else with seniority? Wow, I couldn't say that word. Yeah, no. Shouldn't someone with seniority be doing this more than me, the new guy who just joined maybe a month ago? I think it was actually a bit longer since he made me the XO since joining. But I would think someone else like Dynamis or I forgot it was actually Impulse also at the time. He was also in Thunder, but they were dealing with other stuff. So it's like, yeah, well, you're currently the most active one, and you're the one that really wants to shine. I'm like, I mean, I do, but I guess I'll just do it.
So. Yeah, and here you are, and you've been fantastic so far. I mean, I only have positive things to say about you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I've got 5 squadrons and 55 members, and so these positions come very rarely, and I think you've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I honestly, I knew one day that I was gonna definitely work my butt off to get to where I am now. I just didn't think it would be here so soon. Like I didn't think I'd be Squadron Commander within the year. I thought I would have like at least 1.5 years to 2 years under my belt before even trying for the position, and now here I am.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to talk too much about myself. I went through a similar program where I was in for a few months. I was flight leader, then just kind of surprise commander of a squadron that no longer exists on a ship that no longer exists. Slayer Squadron on the Subjugator. Same kind of rise, and I think it's obvious when people are interested and engaged, and those are the people who are going to have these positions, because it's not necessarily the person who is the best pilots, or the person who flies the most missions, or the person who talks the most in Discord, but the person who really shows drive and interest in leading is going to be the best commander. And I think it was found in you, so here you are.
Well, I'm doing my best with what I got, which is a current. I don't want to say it's an uphill battle, because it's really not. But at the same time, it's like I see all these other squadrons with so many active pilots, pilots that are being sociable. That's not even the right word, because Dynamis and Ryu, my current flight leads right now, are actually very sociable. It's just we don't have the current numbers right now like everybody else, and I don't know if this is appropriate to say, but I guess it's always been an uphill battle for us since I've joined. Because the thing is, like, when I joined, it's like, yeah, we weren't as active, or not social, excuse me, we weren't as social as most of the other squadrons are. And I always, like, I guess I took that as like a personal, like, crusade to see if I could help improve that. And while it has definitely improved, it still feels like we're still doing that sort of crusade. But I'm not worried about it. The people will come, the pilots will come, and we just have we deal with the cards that we've been dealt with.
Well, and I will say a couple things. One, my first command position was worse than yours. Like had fewer active pilots, and you have 6 pilots out of 12 filled. I think I had maybe 2 active people out of 12. So you're doing okay. And this is no reflection on you, no reflection on your squadron.
Right.
It takes a lot of time and effort, but it also takes a lot of luck in getting pilots who are interested in engaging in the kind of thing that we're trying to build.
True.
And so that won't always happen. And so I would say it's better to have a small group of active and engaged individuals than it is to have a lot of people who are disengaged. And I think that you have a very solid platform to build a very strong squadron, and I believe that you can build that.
Oh, true. Yeah, I'm constantly reminded by everybody, including you, everybody, and it really does my heart really well when I'm being constantly encouraged by everybody. Because there were times where I was just like, man, I am going to fail. I am going to fail so badly, and then everybody's like, no, 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 you're doing just fine. Don't worry. It's not a reflection on you. It's just it is what it is right now, and it will get better. It may take time, but it will get better.
And we are an Imperial ship, so if I thought you were gonna fail, I would have airlocked you.
Yeah, exactly. Wait,
So,
we're in the airlock right now.
You still have oxygen, at least for the next 37 minutes.
Yeah. That's how these rebreathers masks go, right?
but positively. So tell me about what drove you to create this podcast and what you hope to see out of it, because so far it seems very successful to me. But what are your thoughts?
So I guess that sort of goal came in two parts. One was my inactivity on Twitch itself. For several years, I was running my own channel, just doing video games and doing the usual Twitch streamer thing. And then I started going to Full Sail University and getting my bachelor's in computer sciences there. So I was like, all right, well, the free time that I've had is slowly diminishing. So that time on Twitch where I couldn't stream anymore, and it became years since I've actually done it due to COVID and all of that. So when I joined and I saw that there was already a podcast there, I was like, oh cool, I would love to be part of that, because I've always wanted to do a podcast or be part of a podcast. And when things happened that we no longer have a podcast, it dawned on me. I'm like, well, what now? What are we gonna do about it? Are we just gonna leave it as there's not gonna be a podcast anymore, or is somebody else stepping up? And when I saw nobody else stepping up or talking about it, I'm like, you know what? I'll do it. Why not? Because it's like, what the only thing that would stop me is you or anybody from high command, which I asked first. It's like, is it okay for me to do such a thing before I even attempted this? And everybody was like, yeah, no, go for it. Absolutely go for it. I think your first word was absolutely. So it's like, all right, bet. I'll just I'll go ahead and get this started. Tried to find all the graphics I could to update the old graphics I had on my channel, and it just, that spark of creativity, like I'm doing with the fictions right now, just clicked, and it just didn't stop. And that's where we are. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'll build up from what the old podcast had, and with respect, continue it in a different name. And then that's where we are. And now there's also the the quote unquote competition that we're running in EH. I say we call it a competition. It's just a means of getting it more even Pliff was like, I know what you're trying to do, but and we had to change a lot of the medal requirements that for submissions and guest appearances, which they've been fixed. And I honestly thought it was going to be rejected right off the bat, because like, one, this isn't really a competition. But even Pliff was like, no, we're not rejecting this. We're just going to change up the medals because I like this idea, and this is a fantastic idea. I'm like, okay, that was unexpected. I will be happy to work on it.
And along with that, so it has sparked up a conversation about how we want to reward members who are doing very creative things, and especially things that take a lot of effort, like the podcast. And so there's a bit of a debate internally, without giving too much away, about whether the current medal structure fits that. So right now, the Iron Stars, the ISs, are supposed to award competition activity. This isn't really a competition; it's more of an event or, kind of effort expended. So how do we reward that? And so there is a ongoing discussion about, what is that? Is that a part of the monthly squadron evaluation system? Is that is that a new medal? Is that a merit medal? Is that part of the, or is an Iron Star good enough because it's what we've done historically? So it's kicked off that conversation. Yeah.
So my opinion on that, without giving too much away of what we had discussed during that meeting, I mean, I really do stand by what I said. Where we were talking about how the legions we're starting to feel, in my opinion, the legions, the legions of combat and skirmish, which are our most common medals. To me, currently, they're just feeling like, in terms of currency, dimes and nickels. They get awarded too often, and it just doesn't feel like the same value as they once had. That being said, I don't really want to change that per se, but I also felt like a new type of medal needed to be created for specific goals or whatever. But I didn't have that creative spark at the time to even think of names. So it's like something, just not what it currently is, because it feels like we're diluting the value of the medals with some of these competitions. Now, like the quote unquote competition that we have for the podcast in terms of submissions for subjects or subject matter and guests. Wow, I could not think of the name at the time. I'm actually pulling it up right now. We actually changed it up. So it would have to take 5 submissions used during a podcast to even get an ISCR, which is an Iron Star copper ribbon, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the medals. And for appearing as a guest on the show, we're not even using an Iron Star. We're trying to use this more often, the IAR, the Imperial Achievement Ribbon. Right. Mm-hmm. And at first I had not even considered that, because reading its description off of the pilot manual and the guidelines that were provided for commanders and above, I didn't even think it would apply to this situation at all. But then Pliff was like, no, we could definitely use this for this current situation. So
yeah, I would agree. I think the IAR makes more sense than the Iron Star, because it's not a competition. It's more about contributing to the Type Corps.
Yeah. But we want to value those submissions instead of just saying, okay, cool, thank you, and then just going off of there. It's like, no, we want to actually reward stuff that was used for something that I'm hoping one day will be bigger than what it is now, which is the podcast. I just didn't feel like it's like, oh, we're gonna use that idea, cool, thanks for the info, and then just use it. And it's like, well, they didn't get any credit for it. In my mind, it felt like they didn't get credit for it. So that's why I kind of wanted to make it a quote unquote competition to earn something.
Yeah, and yes, it is a very in-depth conversation. Lots of opinions being thrown around. I mean, I'm not entirely sure that everything has to be worth something, but it does feel good to be appreciated.
Yeah, and I guess that was the other thing that was mentioned, was instead of medals, it would be MSE points, which I'm totally down, 100%. It's like, find some way of valuing credit where credit is due. That's pretty much all I wanted to make sure happens.
And so, speaking of Iron Stars and competitions, tell me about the time trials and armchair admirals and what other What other competitions you've run or have ideas for?
Yeah, the time trials. Where do I begin with that? Honestly, at first did not think that competition would even be approved at all. I thought this was going to be one of the ones that were going to be shot down. It's like, no,
Shut
Legion.
down like Legion and Asteroid Shield.
Exactly. It's like, no, Legion. This is not going to be good of a competition. And then Pliff immediately approved it. I was like, I didn't even notify him of the competition yet. How he immediately approved it. It was like, oh, okay, sure, we'll go with it. And I remember the first day. I'm like, all right, we can. After all the testing and all that I did with a couple of friends outside of EH, I was like, all right, I don't think anybody's gonna get under 3 minutes for a time. So it's like, yeah, we'll see some interesting time postings, and then all of you. You also, so you Graf, Xylo, Joss Pence. Oh my god. Getting under the 3 minutes, I was like, oh my god, this is actual insanity. And all of you we were battling it out for the first season. And it's like, you all wanted it. Joss Pence evidently got it towards the end with his insane time. If I could remember, if I could try to pull up the old times here. Here we go. Time trial. Yeah, Joss Pence, 1 minute 24.55 seconds. That was
impressive.
Yeah, that was actually insane. At the time, it was actually insane because what I was seeing originally, it just was crazy. All these new builds, all these new strats that I haven't seen. You would think also you would get the fastest ship that could kill the quickest. So you're thinking interceptors, A-wings, maybe the TIE fighters and the X-wings. No, I was actually being shot down with Y-wings and TIE bombers. Of all ships, it's like the slowest ship, heavily armored, but you also have to consider the most powerful. And I guess that's what Joss Pence was thinking, because he used a TIE bomber to get that time, and he was excellent with that rotary cannon. But then season 2 came out. Now, season 1, I have to add, was just for pilots of the challenge, because it was originally a test run with a field test, pretty much. So, like, how will pilots get like this toward a competition? Will it actually get enough attention to make another season? When it did, so I was like, all right, cool. We'll run another season and add more shinier medals to get everybody's attention. But I'd had to open it up to the entire core. And here I am thinking, it's like, I am going to get 100% swarmed with everybody wanting me to to do this competition. It's like, all right, well, that's fine. I'll take it. Anything to run a successful competition. That was my thoughts. And then when I was thinking, okay, the minute times are good, are like the best times. Great, I will hopefully see those crazy times once again. Then Lieutenant Kevla Omega. Oh man, Kevla, I hope you're listening, or I hope you listen to the recording. First shot, 1 minute 13 seconds. Yeah. He already beat the season 1's winner in time. So it's like, all right, we're going off the bat, swinging hard and fast, and still swinging. And then everybody from the hammer started coming in. At one point it felt like only hammer pilots really wanted to win this and tried to beat everybody, because it was Kevla, the Black Ranger, Wookiee Cheeks, all of them were wanting in on this. Lieutenant Elo, even though she's now currently in the reserves, she still has a time on there. I hope everything is going well with her, and with Captain Zai, by the way. But yeah, they were all getting great times. No one has gotten over 3 minutes yet, which is amazing. Everybody's getting under 3 minutes. And then Colonel Genie, who
Genie.
I did not think that anyone would increase the bar in expectations of this competition. Never did I think. It's like, all right, minute 24, minute 13, minute 27. This is like where the quickest times are gonna be. No one can get any lower. Colonel Genie then gets 58 seconds.
Genie, my nemesis.
58.39 seconds. I forgot. I think he was in the A-Wing build. He sent me the picture of the specific builds for every single one of his attempts. I can pull it up another time. But yeah, 58.39 seconds, and I want to say that was on Yavin, which at the time was actually the worst map for the time trials.
All right. Well, what are you doing after this podcast?
Yeah. Well, apparently I'm gonna get shot by. I'm actually down for it. Yeah, if you want to do another attempt.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
And you mentioned Kebla Omega, so I want to insert a little advertisement. Kebla Omega is also running for Grey Squadron, a 4v4 dogfight on the 22nd, 2 days from now at 9 p.m. EST. I think signups end pretty soon, but we've got 3 teams, I think, from the Emperor's Hammer, 3 teams of 4 that are signed up to participate. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to see that. I just still I was thinking it's like, oh, Kebla's gonna be pretty much the winner for the time trials, and then Genie shows up saying, oh no, Kebla's gonna be mad. Kebla's like, oh, okay, cool. When are you next free Legion? I'm like, oh no, I see that anger behind that smile. So yeah.
Genie's a monster. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. But also with the other competition I was running, Armchair Admirals. Now that one was an interesting one, because so when I first joined the TIE Corps, I'm thinking, oh great, they're going to use all Star Wars games out there, from the retro TIE Fighter and X-Wing games to the current latest one, which is Star Wars Squadrons and Battlefront 2. And I'm thinking, all right, cool. Where's Empire at War? You gotta add Empire at War, right? I looked around. There's we don't use Empire at War as one of our core games. And I'm like, oh no, you're kidding me. The strategy in the space battles is not part of the TIE Corps. Unacceptable. We need to get this changed. And I remember both myself and Colonel Talon's Pride, we both wanted to get Empire at War as a game that will eventually be part of our core games. Because I'm thinking, like, yeah, sure, we have the flight sims and all that, but thinking back, it's like, you also gotta know that for those running the actual Star Destroyers or the admirals who are running whole fleets, it's like you would think the strategy aspect of it would also be in there, at least. I know Empire War also has the ground battles, but we don't necessarily need to use them. We could just use the space battles. Ergo, this competition, this was the start of, I'm hoping, the spark that will eventually be used as as Empire War's what's the word I'm looking for here? Inauguration of being a core game in the EH one day, maybe. Yep. Hopefully. Season 1 finished some time ago with General Stryker being the leader, and then we had a 3-way tie for second place, which was funny because it was our COO, Fleet Admiral Miles Prower, and we also had Black Ranger and Colo Deste. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. Cold Snacks. Yeah. All 3 of them tied for second. So it's like that was impressive. They didn't think that actually happened. And then I was also confused. It's like, do I award all 3 of them the second place medal? or just choose one of them? I don't know what to do here. I asked that question, and then Phoenix Berkana just said, yeah, no, just give them all 3. Now, if there was like 50 of them, no, then we need to talk. But it was only like 3 of them. Yeah, sure, go on. It's like, all right, cool. Yeah. There is a second season in the works. However, I need to restructure how the matches get determined, which I already have a system in place for that. I just need to get second opinions on it from specifically from Stryker, because I know he wants to help get this game as a core game as well. Yeah. But the timing of the competition is also a big factor. I did start this competition during the holidays, which I found that to be not good. definitely not good. It's like, oh yeah, sure, start this competition where everybody can join at the time where everybody's with their families.
Right.
Probably should have timed this better. But even then, I still got enough to get an interest in it, so it's like, all right, we can still push another season. It'll be on hold until the structure of the competition gets a little bit more ironed out, but it'll get there. It'll get there.
Yeah. Along with that, so I've been reading your recent fiction.
Yeah.
For those of us that are in here, 'cause, I mean, I'm very interested for a number of reasons. But can you give a synopsis? Like, what's going on? What's going on so far? What are your plans?
So with the current, I called it a mini series because I didn't think each chapter was going to be no more than a few paragraphs, and now I'm looking back at them. It's like every chapter has an increased amount of 20% each chapter. So yes, the Captain LegionX, the Hunt for the Valkyries miniseries that I'm writing. I can't explain why I wanted to start
no
it.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
no,
I'm not. I'm 100% not going to give spoilers. I was just thinking, it's like, how do I explain how the concept first started? Because there isn't one. I literally just woke up one day, went to work, and as I'm at work, it just this flood of creativity just sparked out of nowhere. It's like, you know what? I need to write this down. And so I did.
Nice.
And it just, as you can see, it started off, it's already 3 chapters. I could easily write 6-7 more chapters, but I'm pacing myself because the one thing that I tend to do a lot of times is burn out something in my head real quick. And I don't want this miniseries to just like, okay, cool, you threw it all out and we're done. Oh
yeah.
I didn't want it to just die off like that. So it's like, I'm gonna pace myself, try to get a chapter a day, maybe every 2 days, depending on whether the grammar checks and the proofreading get done by several people. I know Marenta's been a tremendous help in my writing flaws, because I have many. I have quite an astounding number of them.
It comes off very well to me.
Yeah. I don't know how else to explain where it just started. It just did. And a lot of people have already been asking me, it's like, some of these names you're putting, oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I have also been sending this fiction on to a lot of other people outside of EH, friends and family, and a lot of them are asking, these names are very, very specific. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, other than 2 that are in the series right now, all of them are actually names from people in the AH. I'm like, oh wow, these are interesting. What is Silwar Neo? And like, no, that's not how it's pronounced. That's not how it's pronounced at all.
Silver Nalo.
Silver Nalo. Oh god. But one thing that I did almost mess up, I'm gonna admit this now. This was since chapter 1. One thing I was about to make an error in the quote unquote EH lore. I had previously skimmed over your IMPR in the past, but I guess didn't remember. I didn't know your character was from Mandalore. I'm like, oh no, he would know Mandalorians, at least most Mandalorians. So it's like, which faction did you come from? Whether it be the new Mandalorians, the Death Watch, or the Super Commandos? And then you said there was no preference. I'm like, okay, that crisis averted. We're not tearing a hole in the EH lore. I can work with this.
Yeah, no, I wrote my NPR, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And when I did, it was long before like The Mandalorian and Book of Boba and everything else came out. So it was kind of a little bit of a mix between whatever extended universe existed at the time and whatever my brain thought up. And so essentially, my character's background is pretty minor, not even a clan, more of a family from Mandalore, merchant class, nobody of note or anything. I like the idea of being from an important place, but not an important family necessarily, and rising to where I am now.
Right, because in my book, I have you slated as just a full-on powerhouse of a Sith, like straight up powerhouse, where you get yelled at by Pliff if you tear up the ship again. I think I got that ass. It's like, wait, he has the power to do that? What do you mean he has the power to do that? Like, I don't know. I'm just making this up.
Yeah, well, that's one of the interesting things about the EH, because my rise with the Dark Brotherhood was different, but slightly parallel to the TIE Corps. And that, so I started off as, a cadet like everybody else, got my way up to commander of a squadron, and then the Dark Brotherhood ended up in a similar situation where I rose to the point of having a similar organization called the Battle Teams, the Dark Brotherhood. About 12 people, same kind of size, might have been a little bit larger. And so it's interesting trying to tie those two different characters into each other. And so I think that my TC character and my TB character are the same. But almost kind of living two lives.
Yeah, and I'm hoping to capture that within the series, and I think so far I have, to a point.
Yeah.
This latest chapter, I think I've captured, I would hope, your anger and curiosity at the same time. For those of you who wanted to read, it's in the chapters are in the Run-On's channel on the official EH Discord. Will also, whenever I do get it to the GD in PDF form, it will be on the current website on my profile for everybody to read.
Yeah, I think you've done a very good job capturing everybody's characters.
I do my best.
So let's see. So we got about 10 minutes left. What do you want to discuss? Leave it open to you.
Well, one, why am I still having a cough? No, I don't know. I just I didn't really have much to plan today because I was hoping to discuss with Mordecai his ultimate rise to power as a High Admiral. I believe he's one of the very few also to actually receive the Medal of Honor. Yeah, and I wanted to know what that story was. How much? Actually, now I'm thinking about it. What does it take to get a Medal of Honor in the EH?
I haven't actually seen one. I've known people that have earned them, but I haven't seen one given out in my tenure. So
Really?
Just swallowed some spit. So I have no idea. I mean, we could look through the historic records and see what was, why things were given, if it even goes back that far.
Yeah, because I know for the longest time, it's like, oh, cool. I'm looking at all of these. I guess that was another thing that also caught my interest when I was joining the TIE Corps. All these medals, I'm like, oh, these are cool. The Medal of Honor, yeah, that looks definitely cool. bet I will ever get that for a good long while. But
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like,
it takes something very. I mean, if you look at Mordecai's record, which you can grill him about what he's on. I mean, he was Commodore of a ship for a while. He was Battlegroup Com. He was the TCOM. He was in Pliff's position for years, for multiple years.
Yep.
He had, he was ISP, just like Maverick. He's got a pretty interesting career.
Yeah, lengthy record.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just, it's like, wow, Medal of Honor recipient, Imperial Cross recipient, Order of the Renegade. It's like, I know he has the time to get that, but it's like, wow, those are really impressive. How did he get that?
Well, and honestly, the Order of the Renegade is even more impressive than the Medal of Honor, because the Order of the Renegade you earn if you have everything else. That's what you get.
Oh, so okay, so you can't get that. You can't get the Order of Renegade if you don't have a Medal of Honor, or is it the other way?
Yeah. So the description, it's awarded in the memory of Renegade, a member who was previously had passed away. Members who are already fleet admirals and who have gotten all of the other merit awards can get the Order of the Renegade. So it's very rare.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people have gotten this, including the current fleet admiral, our old Commodore Dempsey, and a handful of other people. 12 have gone out in the last 25 years.
Wow, that is definitely impressive. Then I definitely want to know the stories on how he got his.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like also everybody getting all these shiny gold medals, and then here I am. I think the highest medal I got is a Bronze Star.
Yeah, you get there.
I know, I'll get there. Like I said, it'll take time. But I was gonna say, we've also talked about the newsletter that's in the works. Any other future plans coming to the challenge other than Shaquille Cup?
Well, so I could talk about a couple ongoing events and competitions. We have the Shaquille Cup, Shaquille Cup 2, which Jeannie and I put together. We did it last year. We're doing it again this year. This year is Fleet Battles. We should have all of the all of the challenges squadrons represented. Eagle has a team, Firebird has a team, Tempest has a team, Inferno and Thunder putting together a team with me. And so that'll be starting February 1st.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I am in the wild card team that Evil Grid is running.
Yep. You, me, Evil Grid, Marenta, and Travis, I believe.
Which will be interesting, because it's like, oh boy, how are we gonna run this? How is this gonna be?
We're gonna win. Everybody knows.
Marenta's gonna be crashing into something, jousting in a Reaper. What? I didn't say that. I'm gonna get yelled at by her.
Yep. Yeah. We have Week of War starting pretty soon. Let me double check exactly when that's starting.
Week of War 5, which I actually is on my newsreel on the bottom. It does start tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that is a tradition that goes back decades. So the first Week of War, I want to say it was before I joined the EH. So I joined the EH for the Week of War 7 or 8, and that was back in the mid 2000s. And we were playing X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. But I got some of my first medals for the EH. So Week of War Squadrons Edition starts tomorrow at I think 5 o'clock GMT, noon Eastern, or something like that. You go check in the competition center. And then yeah, we've got Shaquille Cup. I think those are the big events that are coming up for us soon.
Okay. Yeah. I also want to point out, I know we're like jumping around in this last bit here, but I wanted to point out, whenever I did start the podcast competition for submissions and all that, I want to point out Jeannie listed 20 something submissions, and each submission has a guest on it or several guests on it, and it's like, well, just this alone has filled up several weeks of plans for the podcast, and I want to thank him generously for that because I think just now we've talked about 3 of those subjects in this podcast alone. The thing we haven't really talked about much yet is the Dark Brotherhood, which I don't know if you wanted to get touch base on that in a few minutes now, or save that in another podcast.
I can touch on it. I think it's worth another podcast on its own, but we can touch on it. So right now, where we are is, so the Dark Brotherhood has existed almost as long as the TIE Corps. It's gone back decades. I was originally part of the Dark Brotherhood in 2006-ish, 16 years ago. And so it was typically, it was a sub-organization focused a lot on 3 things. They did some of the flight simulators. They played some of Jedi-based games like Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, which had a fantastic multiplayer scene at the time, as well as a lot of fiction and art. And so over time, they kind of expanded what they've counted as activity, and we're at a point right now where we are reconsidering what the Dark Brotherhood should be, as it has kind of, over the last couple of years, needed a bit of help figuring out exactly what it is. Where we are right now is at a point where Calv Ryder, who's in Tempest Squadron, and I, as well as Maverick, the Fleet Admiral, Admiral Rapier, Miles Prower, who has been a part of the Dark Brotherhood for a long time and is the equivalent of the COO over there, called the Master at Arms, Turtle Gerard, and the rest of the Emperor's Hammer Command staff are currently working through kind of developing from first principles, if we were to begin a new subgroup from the ground up, what could it possibly look like? And over the last 2 months or so, have made some progress in what that could look like. And we hope to have something to announce over the next month or so.
Okay, good.
But for now, the Dark Brotherhood is operating as it was before, so we are primarily supporting Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO, as well as Galaxy of Heroes, the mobile game. And so people can join for now and continue earning medals and things, but the real meat of the reorganization will happen, I think, over the next month or so.
Yeah, speaking of Star Wars, the Old Republic, the Old Republic, I desperately need to get back on that. I have a character on there that pretty much fits Legion as a whole. I need to get back at it, because at the time, I was just running by myself, surprisingly, with Ryuzukin. We were in a very small clan, and we were like, yeah, sure, we'll just run around and do stuff. Then we kind of just fell out of it because we were getting bored. And then he said, hey, look at this thing, and he sent me the TIE Corps poster. And then I realized that the Dark Brotherhood does the MMO for the Old Republic. I'm like, okay, cool. Then that'll be my in with the Dark Brotherhood. But then I heard the whole restructuring thing. Like, I'm gonna wait until the chaos goes, or maybe start joining in here within next week, possibly.
It is a lot of fun. So I mean, even today, I've almost finished getting all of my characters through all of the class stories. I finished my 6th out of all 8. And so if you're interested, there's no reason not to join right now. It will change soon. So
okay, then I'm gonna have to start getting that ready for, like I said, next week, because the next 2 days I'm working and I don't know what my schedule is for next week, and I'm already running all these other competitions. It's like I am going to be busy.
yeah. No rush. Hop in when you're ready.
Yeah. But that's pretty much all I got for my end for tonight. As half-assed as it was, trying to find topics already.
Yep. So my last question will wait for next time. I was going to ask, what's the story behind the mask, but we can wait for that for another podcast.
I'm actually, even then, it's like I can't. Well, okay, I can actually.
We can wait.
Well, it's not really much to say. I can actually say it right now. It's on my IMPR. Briefly, it's just a sort of what is it? An issue with Legion's PTSD against a certain person in our lore, which is actually going to be in the miniseries. So that's kind of why I'm not really touching upon it that much, because it would be spoilers for the story. But yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, I will look out for that.
Alrighty. Well, then I'll go ahead and start closing us out. Thank you again so much, Vice Admiral. I'll let you know when the video's out and we can spread it on everywhere. All right.
Well, thank you for coming out as a guest.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you for having me on my own show. What?
All right. Thank you. I'll see you around.
You have a good night.
You too.
All right, and with that, we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping these up. Yeah, definitely an interesting podcast today. We want to try to get at least one episode a week, so yeah, we had to throw in something due to the scheduling conflicts, but I'm happy we were able to do this. So hopefully next week we will have High Admiral Mordecai Wolf joining us, and we will finally get that sorted out. The moment I know my work schedule, and I think already knows his, we just need to line it up correctly. So yeah, I am going to start heading out. Thank you everybody so much for stopping on by. For those live on Twitch, thank you so much for joining us. Again, I apologize that we couldn't fully focus on chat. We're still trying to build up a sort of podcast team where I can have moderators in the chat, watching and answering questions live. I also hope to have a proper editor to help us out with the editing so that we can put it on our YouTube channel. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and yeah, we'll go ahead and just call it from here. Thank you again so much for joining. We look forward to seeing you next week on episode 4. Take care. Good night.